Hi, and welcome to another video by Jim the Car Guy. Today we have a 2011. It's a Honda CRV, and the problem we have is that we're going to actually listen to it together and you'll hear what problem it is. When you start this vehicle up, this thing is making such a racket that even if you turn the radio up inside the vehicle, you can still hear it, so it's pretty loud. What we're going to do now is we're going to diagnose where the noise is coming from, and then we're going to go ahead and repair it. So first thing we're going to do is let's go up front, let's listen to it, see what it is, and then we'll go from there. So come on, let's go up front and listen and see what it sounds like. Okay, I'm pretty sure you can hear that noise. It is pretty loud, so now we got to try to pinpoint where it's coming from. I know it's a noise coming from the drive area, which is right up inside here, so we're going to pinpoint where it's coming from, and then we're going to go about repairing it. I want to mention this to you now. You're going to be in there and the vehicle's going to be running. Be careful, don't touch anything. You're going to hurt yourself with it. You can lose a finger or worse, pretty badly. Now you hear that changes right there? That changes actually when the air conditioning compressor turned off and on is when it changes pitch. So I have a feeling it's going to be a bad compressor, but we're going to check just to make sure before we go ahead and do anything. So let me show you what we use. Two things we're going to do. We're going to use a long screwdriver like this or a stethoscope if you have one, but as you know, a stethoscope is not that long, so what you do is you'll take this screwdriver and you'll touch any driven item underneath there, like an idler pulley, a tensioner or whatever, and you'll put it up against your ear and you can actually hear where the noise is coming from. Now this is not going to get you down to the AC compressor, so what we're going to need to do for the compressor is I get a long line like this. You can get any length you need. This is a brake line actually, and what I do is I just attach a rubber hose to the end of the brake line, and now I can put this down anywhere I need to and touch into it any place on the car, and if you put this up against your ear, you'll be able to hear where the noise is coming from. It sounds ridiculous, but believe me, it works very well, and you'll be able to pinpoint exactly where that noise is coming from. So let's check it out and see where it is. First thing we're going to do is we're going to use the screwdriver to listen first. Now this is your power steering. This is your power steering principle here. We have the car running, so be careful. You're going to lift it up a little bit so you can move it out of your way, and then you'll get down here with this. Some noise coming from the tensioner. I can hear a slight noise from the tensioner. I know the tensioner is no good, but that's not the majority of the noise. The majority of the noise sounds like it's coming down further from the compressor, so we're going to use that real long one now. You want to be careful when you snake this down through there. You don't want to hurt yourself or get nailed into a pulley or whatever. Shut this off and then we'll talk. Okay. That noise is absolutely coming from the AC compressor. I had a feeling it was going to be because whenever the compressor turns on and off, you can hear the pitch change pretty drastically. So let's make a phone call. We're going to try to locate the compressor, get a price on it, and then we'll call the customer to see what we're going to do. So, all right, let's make a few phone calls and we'll come right back. Okay, we made a few phone calls, got some prices. We spoke to the customer and we got the okay to go ahead and replace the compressor, and we also going to change the tensioner at the same time. So what I'm going to do now is this is what I'm going to do step by step. I'm going to remove the dry belt so I can gain access to that tensioner. But the most important thing is we're going to replace that compressor with a new one. Now, this AC system has Freon in it, so we are going to suck it down into a vacuum. So we're going to vacuum out all the Freon inside the system, and then we're going to remove the compressor, put the new compressor on, put the new tensioner on, put the dry belt back on, charge it up, and then out the door. And that's what we're going to do. So, all right, let me get set up, get some tools over here, and let's get started. Okay, I just want to point out that we had to take this plastic cover off underneath the bottom right up here to gain access to the compressor. Now, as you can see, once that cover is out of the way, that compressor comes out fairly easy. So let me just show you real quick. I just want to see if you can. Now, this is the compressor still attached, but listen to this. Can you hear that? Now, of course, you put the fan belt or drive belt on that and pull a little tighter, and it's going to wind up with making a tremendous amount of noise. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to come in here and we're going to start disconnecting the compressor, and we're going to take it out. But it's going to be tough for me to film it and do it at the same time, but this is what we're going to do. We're going to take out that 10mm bolt there. We're going to unplug this plug right here, which is for the compressor. We're going to disconnect that 10mm right there. And then if you see here, you'll see these 12mm here. It looks like 12 anyway. That one, that one, that one, and that one. And then we're going to move these lines out of the way, and we're going to pull that compressor out. So, sounds easy, but we'll see how it goes. Okay, our compressor's ready to come out. Grab my new one and we'll put this back together. Okay, well that's it. We got it out on the floor, and you can listen to this. No doubt in my mind that that's the noise. You can actually have a little bit of play in the pulley here as well. That's why it would change pitch when the compressor would turn on, because this bearing in here was no good, and it would lock up and it would give you that noise. But that's it. All right, let's grab the new one, and we're going to continue. Yeah, the new one. We're going to put our new one in now. What I'm going to also tell you is I'm not going to take out on the top right here. They have these covers right on here. I don't know if you can see that cover right there. I'm just going to break it loose, but I'm not going to take it out because this compressor comes charged with oil already, and I'm going to loosen up this one here as well. Okay, so now they're loose, but I'm not taking them out. And we're going to put this back up there, and we're going to hook it right on these little hooks right up here. I don't know if you can see that, but we got to hook that part of the compressor up onto those little hooks in there so it lines up. Now, before we do anything, we're going to catch each one of the bolts just by a couple of threads. Remember, the longer bolts were on top and the shorter ones were on the bottom. Everything in. I always do the more difficult ones first. Okay. see okay there. Okay, now the compressor's nice and tight. Now the next thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to actually get the new O-rings, put the new O-rings on these lines, and then we'll put them back together. So let me grab the O-rings and we'll continue here. Okay, now I'm going to take off these O-rings. I don't know if you can see me, but I just hook it with the hook. And then just take it off. I am going to hold it because I want to match it up and make sure it's the right one. We'll do the exact same thing on this other one right here as well. And match it up. Okay, they are the same. So I'm going to put the new O-rings on now, on there. I'm going to put the second O-ring up on top. Okay. Now I'm going to get some compressor oil, and I'm going to put a little bit of oil on these O-rings before I put them together. The oil is very important because this way it keeps the O-rings from being damaged while being put in. Sorry about that. Okay, just make sure that this bolt up here now on that top is tight. Now remember, it doesn't have to be gorilla tight, it just has to be snug. Just going to clean off a little bit up here. Okay, and the next thing we're going to do, we're going to take out that other 10 millimeter down here, and we'll put our new O-ring and line into this bottom one here as well. Remember, there might be a little bit of a puff out of it of oil or something, but nothing to worry about. Nothing came out. Alright, so now to get that in there, you're just going to not push it hard, you're just going to push lightly, and it goes right in there. You don't want to force it because you don't want to damage that O-ring. Alright, now we'll snug up the bottom line, and that's it. Our compressor's in, we just got to put our plug in. Let's do that right now. Listen for it to snap in, which it did. Alright, next thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to put the drive belt on. I don't know if I'm going to be able to film it, but I'll try the best I can. Alright, so let's get up there and we'll continue. Okay, now we have the compressor back up. You can see that I put the lines back in right here. We put new O-rings on the lines and we lubricated them with the clean oil before we put it back in, and we tightened up the bolts that actually hold this line in and that line up there as well. So both of these are tight and both of them have new O-rings on it, and they were lubricated before it was put back together. Alright, the next thing we did is we plugged in the plug for the compressor itself, and we tightened up the 4 12 millimeter bolts that hold the compressor in. Alright, next thing we're going to do is we're going to take that cover right there and we're going to put it back up underneath here and put the push pins back in. You know, with the push pins it's quite simple. You pretty much just push them back in, like by the outside, this piece right here, and then you lock it in place with that. So I'm not going to show you that, that's very simple, but we are going to put it back up underneath here before we lower it back down. So alright, let me do that and we're going to continue then. Okay, now just so you know, I am going to put the drive belt back on. I don't think I'm going to be able to film it because I got to get 3 hands in there at the same time to get that tightened in. So I'm going to get the drive belt on, and then we'll connect up to the machine, pump it into a vacuum, and we'll charge it all up. So let me get the belt on, and we got the drive belt back on. We actually put our power steering back into the bracket. Our low side and high side is connected, and now we're going to pump it down into a vacuum for probably about 15 minutes, half an hour, something like that. Probably about a half hour actually. Okay, all right, we'll come back. We're going to run this 15 minutes, and we'll make sure it holds vacuum, and then we'll come back and vacuum it out one more time, and then we'll charge it up. Okay, I just want to address this so everybody knows. This particular compressor, this is a brand new compressor. This is not a reconditioned or anything like that. Whenever you install a compressor, you have to check the oil level, or I should say you have to add oil to the system, because when you take that old compressor off, you're losing oil. When you look it up on the computer, it tells you probably about 2 to 2 3/4 ounces, something like that. This compressor has a tag on it that says it comes already charged with 3 ounces of oil already. So that's why I'm not going to be putting any oil into this system, just so you know. But make sure if you're doing your compressor, make sure you know if there's oil in there or not. If there's not oil in there, make sure you put it in, because otherwise you're going to cook your new compressor. All right, this is almost, let's take a look how much time we have. All right, let's go over there and show you. That's how much time we got left. We got 52 seconds. This is my second run to vacuum it down, so this is a half an hour already. I did check it before to make sure that there was no vacuum leaks at all, and there was none, so it held vacuum. So, all right, so as soon as this counts down, we know for a fact underneath the hood here, it'll tell you how much Freon it takes. And you see where it says minimum and maximum. So what I do is I divide it right in half, and that's what I put in there. So this one is going to take 16 ounces, 16.2 or 3 to be exact, but it's going to put in 16 ounces, which is 1 pound. So that's what I'm going to put in there as soon as this turns off, and then we'll start this up and make sure it's okay. Alright, so now we're going to charge it, 1 pound. Actually, I'm going to put in just a slight bit more so that we're at the higher end. And we're going to charge it. You can see your pressure is going up there, which is a normal thing. And it should stabilize fairly even to what the pressure is on the high and low side until we start it. Okay, now we're fully charged. I'm going to shut these off for now. Let's turn that machine off. All right, now that shows what the temperature is in here now. It's about 94 degrees. So let's hop inside the vehicle and see if we did a good job. Okay, we got it all charged up now. Now let's fire it up and make sure our noise is gone. Okay, I'm not going to leave this running because you won't be able to hear me when I'm talking, but that's it. It's nice and quiet. You can hear how quiet it is now. I'm just going to let this run. I'm going to leave my lines connected. I'm going to check the pressures, the high and low side, make sure we're in a normal range, disconnect everything, take it for test drive, and then this job is done and out the door. And when the owner gets in this vehicle and starts it up, he's not even going to realize it's his vehicle. That's how quiet it is compared to how it was before. All right, as always, thanks for watching. See you on the next one.